to Dr. Mensch, the radio show that takes a real, compassionate look at mental health from A to Z. Join child and adolescent psychiatrist Dr. Gil Lichtshein each week as we explore topics that matter: autism, ADHD, anxiety, depression, OCD, schizophrenia, behavioral challenges, neurodevelopmental disorders, and more. No stigma, no judgment. Just honest conversations, new therapies, breakthrough treatments, and real solutions for real people. Mental health is not a weakness. It's a treatable medical condition, and help is available. Join the conversation now by calling the studio at 888-994-4995, Studio A. This is Dr. Mensch, where hope and healing begin.
Good afternoon. This is Dr. Gil Lichtshein, aka Dr. Mensch. I'm a board-certified child, adolescent, and adult psychiatrist in Boca Raton, Florida. My office is located at 7100 West Camino Real, Suite 404, and my phone number is 561-300-4052. Today is Monday, July 27th, and even though the calendar is still the end of July, and according to the calendar, we still have almost 2 months left of summer. I think the first day of fall is September 21st or 22nd. That might be the case, and at least in living in South Florida, we probably have about 3.5 more months left of summer. But school begins very, very soon. I know colleges don't begin, for the most part, till end of August, beginning of September. So if you're going into freshman or any year of college or grad school, you still have about another month to go. But I'm talking about public school. So in the Tri-County area, I know Broward and Palm Beach County begin school 2 weeks from today, Monday, August 10th. And if you're in Miami-Dade County, I believe it begins Wednesday or Thursday of that week. But either way, we're talking about summer's over for if you're going to public school and even some private schools, although I do believe most private schools for elementary, middle, and high school probably start a little bit later in August. But nonetheless, we're talking about 2, maybe at most 3 weeks' time, and all these kids are back in school, and summer is over, and this is the last hurrah. You see on TV and in the news about back-to-school sales, and I know in the state of Florida we have like several weeks of tax-free holiday on school supplies, which is happening now. But this is a time where families are preparing for the kids to get back to school. And this morning I was at my dentist for my quarterly checkup, and the dental hygienist, we were talking about school. And my dental hygienist has a few kids, and she's like, hallelujah. She's looking forward to August 10th because the kid's back in school, and, for her, I guess, life can kind of be a little bit less stressful. But, for parents, as much as it is for the kids, it really brings a change. Summer, kids may have been in camp or maybe not in camp, but the kids are not at school. They might be home all day. It's a definite, change in the family dynamic that you see for about a 2.5 month period from late May, early June to early August. But now that August 10th, August 12th, whatever, middle of August is upon us, things kind of, in some ways, come to an abrupt end. And it's important, at least in my practice, where I kind of give a lot of advice and opinions with regards to getting kids ready for school. I'm not necessarily talking about medication. That plays a role, and I'll discuss that, but also getting them back on some sort of school routine, because I remember, again, this is going back, I don't remember like elementary, but I'm talking about high school, where during the summer I had a job and I'd stay up late, um, maybe at times when I wasn't working, get up late, and then all of a sudden had to abruptly change when school started again. You're not sleeping until 10, 11, 12 o'clock. I went to a Jewish day school in high school, so I was in school every day from 8 a.m. to 5:30. So it was a long day. So, you know, there was no getting up at 9 or 10 p.m. Yet I had to be up probably 6:15 a.m. to get ready for school. So these kids who, let's say, went to summer camp or did whatever they did for summer, they might stay up later, not have as much structure. Well, by now summer camps are over, so let's say they're back home. They can stay up later, hang out with their friends, get up, 10, 11 o'clock. But that all of a sudden on come August 10th changes. And so I talk with parents about getting their kids back in school mode, maybe even a week or 2 weeks before the start of school, because think about, let's say, a teenager going into high school or going either starting 9th grade or returning for 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. A lot of the high schools in South Florida start their day at like 7:15 a.m. These kids, if they are taking the school bus, have to be up at the crack of dawn, or even if they drive to school, nonetheless, we're talking getting up at 6:15 a.m. Let's say all summer they've been partying or hanging out with their friends, having a good time, staying out till, or not necessarily staying out, but staying up till 1, 2 a.m., waking up at 11, 12 p.m. the next day. Well, that comes to an abrupt end once school starts. But you kind of got to ease them into that transition. It's very hard to all of a sudden, on your sleep-wake cycle, where let's say for 2 months you've been staying up late, talking to friends online, texting. God knows what teenagers now do. I didn't have that luxury when I was 15 or 16, but let's just say they're up till the wee hours of the morning and then sleep in. All of a sudden, abruptly, let's say Saturday night, August 8th, they're up till 3 a.m., wake up at 1 p.m. Sunday, August 9th, but then let's say that night they got to be in bed by 10 or 11 because they got to be up at 6 a.m. on Monday, August 10th. That's going to be like a real shock to your system. And your sleep-wake cycle, your body's, circadian rhythms, it's not necessarily something that can just adjust on the fly. And for a lot of people, it requires some time to kind of adjust to a new circadian rhythm. So I always recommend to parents, like, get your kids ready in school mode. Okay, if you don't want to do it 2 weeks before, at least let's say a week before, several days before the start of school, so they can kind of acclimate and adjust to this kind of time change. It's no different than when we move the clocks ahead and back, daylight savings time, standard time. Hopefully that's going to end with, I believe, the bill passed in the House to keep everything in daylight savings time, and hopefully the Senate will pass it. President Trump will sign it. It'll be law, and we don't have to this back and forth. But you hear about so many people who have a hard time adjusting to the change, spring forward, fall back. We're talking just about 1 hour of a time change, going from standard time to daylight savings time, where you lose an hour of sleep. People sometimes have a difficulty in that. Or let's say you travel from Eastern time zone to Central time zone or to Mountain time zone. I was just in Montana for a week, and they're on Mountain time zone. They're 2 hours behind. But for the first 3 days I was there, I was getting up at 3:30, 4 a.m. local time because my body, my circadian rhythm was based on Eastern time, and to me it was 6 a.m. So I was up at 4 a.m. local time because my body was thinking it was 6 a.m. because it was used to Eastern time zone. It wasn't until about day 3 or 4 that I finally kind of got regulated, so I woke up at 6 a.m. local time. So think about that, and think about this situation where we're not talking about for 2 days or 3 days or 4 days. We're talking maybe a month or 2 months where a child or teenager has I'm not going to say unregulated sleep and unregulated sleep-wake cycle, but let's say their whole sleep-wake cycle has got to been shifted from a school-structured sleep-wake cycle for the whole year, and all of a sudden now it's kind of unstructured, or I don't want to say mayhem, but go to sleep late, wake up late, and then all of a sudden that's got to change. So one thing I make suggestion is, again, parents know their kids well, but several days, maybe a week, maybe longer before school begins to kind of get their kids on that school sleeps cycle so that they transition nicely to when school starts, because if you don't, it can make the first few days of school pretty tough if you're going all tired, exhausted, or you're kind of out of it. And not having good, restorative, restful sleep can have a really profound effect on your mood, on your cognition. And so my advice is get these kids on their school sleep plan days or a week or two before school starts. Don't wait till the night before, because that can make that first day or two or first week of school, I'm not going to say a disaster, but difficult. And again, parents know their kids better than obviously I would. So I'm not going to sit here and say that all children or all teenagers, hey, moms and dads, a week before school starts, get them in bed by 10 or 11, or get them up by 6 or 7. Parents know their kids. So I would say don't wait till the last minute. Don't wait till the night before. Give it several days or longer, depending on the individual, to get their sleep-wake cycle adjusted and regulated to school. The other thing also comes into play is medication. I have a lot of parents. This comes into play a lot with their ADHD medications, primarily the stimulants. Although I've had some parents who want to take their kids off non-stimulant medications. I also suggest that if they do that, to get them back on their medications, again, several days or a week or two before school starts. Now, if it's pertaining to, let's say, their non-stimulant medications, which may take a little bit more time to kind of kick in, and maybe restart it a week, 10 days before school starts. Stimulants like Adderall or Vyvanse or Ritalin, where even though these medicines work kind of instantaneously, I still note to parents, and this is based on my opinion of not doing drug holidays, that there are some kids that even if you don't give them the medicines on Saturday and Sunday and restart it Monday, that it might take them a day or two to kind of regulate or get back in the groove. So that being said, I would suggest not wait till, again, school starts Monday, August 10th. Don't wait till Monday, August 10th to give your child their first dose of Adderall that they haven't taken in 2 months. I'm not saying start them a month before, start them 2 weeks before, but perhaps start them maybe the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, kind of help them get regulated back into the medicine. I mean, not having taken it for a couple months, the first time or two they take it, they might have a headache, they might feel a little jittery, they might feel nauseous. I mean, so to kind of minimize any side effects or any problems kind of adjusting or reacclimating to the medicine, start them on their stimulant maybe that Friday before school or the weekend before school starts. So help them get into the groove so then again when they start school kind of goes by smoothly. Certainly with non-stimulant medications like Strattera or Qelbree or Clonidine or Guanfacine, I would probably say, if they have decided to stop it for the summer, perhaps restart it a week before, because these medicines are not as quick acting, and so you certainly want to make sure, or at least be, on the path that to have your child kind of already acclimate or kind of have the medicine in their system when school starts, and not have to kind of almost like restart everything from day one on day one. So medications, definitely not wait till the 11th hour. I don't recommend, there's really no other real medications like antidepressants, mood stabilizers, antipsychotics. I never recommend parents to give their children a summer holiday from, let's say, lithium or Prozac or Seroquel. I mean, those are medicines that a child should be taking, or an adolescent should be taking 24/7 or 365, meaning every day. So really, it pertains more to ADHD medications, because again, summer, while it generally is considered a time of like less stress, low key, fun, relaxing. I mean, and I would say overall that may very well be true. The anticipation of school starting can really be stressful, and definitely a change. And so you want to kind of make sure to instill and implement structure and routine before this kind of dramatic change comes into play. Because again, you're going from, think about May of the end of the school year. So you've had, August to May. We're talking 8-9 months of, every day you're in school Monday through Friday from whatever, 7 to 3 or 8 to 3 or 9 to 4. And then come, end of May, that abruptly changes. Kids may go to camp, but, and even though, you may have to get up, I don't, I've never been to sleepaway camp, but I can imagine in sleepaway camp, you don't have to be up at 6 a.m. At the same time, I don't think you're wake up at sleepaway camps at 11 a.m., but you're probably sleeping till, 7:30, 8 a.m., maybe a little bit more humane, wake up time. But, sleepaway camp generally is not as viewed as serious like schools. You're not learning, you're not studying, you're not getting graded, there are no tests. Yes, there are rules and regulations you got to follow, and there is some kind of structure and order and that you have to kind of comply with. But nonetheless, summer camps kind of 4 weeks, 6 weeks of fun. Come home, maybe a couple weeks downtime, families go on vacation, last hurrah before school starts, and all of a sudden all that kind of fun in the sun comes to a crashing halt come this year, August 10th, where then no more waking up at 8, 9, 10 a.m., no more kind of relaxing, it's serious. So on that note, I will take a brief commercial break and we'll continue when we come back.
What happens when the mind of a healer crosses over into the darkness of the human soul? From authors David Icovetti, Dr. Gil Lichtshein, and Yolanda DeLuca comes a chilling psychological thriller, Dr. Mensch, A Prescription for Evil. This gripping novel follows a respected Boca Raton psychiatrist who secretly descends into madness, transforming into a modern-day king of the underworld. Inspired by true events and Dr. Gil's childhood connection to a mob family, this story blurs the line between sanity and evil, genius and destruction. Unforgettable, disturbing, impossible to put down. Get your copy today on Amazon.com. Dr. Mensch, A Prescription for Evil, a 2020 psychological crime thriller. You're listening to Dr. Mensch with child and adolescent psychiatrist Dr. Gil Lichtshein. For a copy of his powerful new book, Dr. Mensch's Prescription for Evil, visit Amazon.com. For more information or to schedule a consultation, contact Dr. Gil directly at 561-300-4052 or visit docgil.com. Now, let's get back to the show.
Welcome back. This is Dr. Gil Lichtshein, aka Dr. Mensch. We're talking about the summer and back to school, and I just kind of want to add that I'm kind of one who believes that structure, or kind of orderliness is really important. And if it's up to me, I would, my opinion and belief is keep the same routine all year round. So for part of that reason, that's part of one of the reasons why I'm not a big believer in taking drug holidays, whether it is for weekends or certainly the summers. Part of the reason is, again, we're talking about ADHD medications primarily, that ADHD doesn't go away in the summer. ADHD doesn't take a vacation or holiday. ADHD sticks with you all the time. Now, it may manifest itself differently in different situations. It's no different than diabetes or high blood pressure or coronary artery disease. It doesn't take, just because it's, the calendar reads June, July, August, diabetes doesn't decide, okay, I'm going to go on, summer holiday for 3 months and I'll be back, Labor Day weekend. Diabetes sticks with you. Same thing with ADHD. So for that reason, that's one reason why I say, don't stop medicines over the summer, because again, even though it may be, less stressful, kind of more relaxing, ADHD is still there, and it's going to rear its ugly head in some way, somehow, perhaps differently than from school, but it's still going to be there. The other reason is, again, kind of based on the reason why I don't take drug holidays, is routine, structure. Keep everything the same. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I know it would stink to tell a parent, okay, have your teenager or your 12-year-old go to bed at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m., in the middle of the summer. I'm not saying that, but I would kind of try to avoid or argue against letting your kids stay up till the wee hours of the morning, playing their whatever, Fortnite or whatever they're doing on their computer, or texting. You could text during the day. There's other times, I don't usually sit around and, text my best friend at 3 a.m. He's sleeping. So, there's where it comes into play about structure and routine. Again, I'm not saying 9 p.m. lights out, go to bed, but try to kind of minimize or limit, just how late your kids stay up. And I'm not saying wake them up at 6 a.m. like it's a school day, but don't let them sleep in till 1 p.m. It really screws up their circadian rhythms. And I know teenagers need their sleep, but it's kind of the same logic what I tell patients about weight gain and eating. And when I prescribe some medications that cause weight gain, I tell them, yes, obviously, if the medicine makes you more hungry, you're going to eat more and you're going to gain weight. But just as important as to how much you're eating is what you're eating. And so with sleep, obviously, the quantity of sleep is important, but also it's the quality. So I always tell parents, making sure their kids get good quality sleep. Does it have to be 8 or 9 or 10 hours? No. I think this idea of being rigid about you got to get a minimum of 9, 10 hours of sleep, I think that's too idealistic. In today's world, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's very difficult. And so some people can function very well on 6, 7 hours of quality sleep. Some people need more, but the key thing is making sure your kids get good quality sleep and maintaining that same routine all year long. And that would kind of make that transition to school a lot easier than if all of a sudden you kind of abruptly just break this pattern they've gotten into over the summer, and all of a sudden it just kind of gets disrupted. And some kids, some teenagers may not be as good in dealing with the changes in the routine. And so I think it's, again, I don't want to say everybody, but the idea of keeping a routine year-round might be helpful for some or kids and teenagers to get them back ready and raring to go once school begins. And so again, my take-home message is with school starting, within 2 to 3 weeks for most elementary, middle, and high schools in the Tri-County area, get your kids back in the groove now. Don't wait till the night before or the day before school. You don't want to make your child's first week in school, and especially, let's say, if they're transitioning from elementary to middle and middle to high school, you don't want to make that first week miserable or uncomfortable, and you don't want a tired teenager or 12-year-old. That's not fun, and it's going to make their experience in a new school setting more uncomfortable and uneasy. So again, when it comes to routine, especially sleep, medication, get them prepared, maybe days, maybe a week, maybe longer, again, depending on the individual, before school begins, so that they are kind of rocking and rolling and raring to go, and there's no issue. That's what I suggest to the parents of teenagers and kids that I treat. I make it a point, get them started back on their Adderall before school starts. You want to make sure they're tolerating it. Get them back sleeping as if it's a school night days before school starts. You don't want to, imagine, a child waking up at 2 p.m. on Sunday and all of a sudden they have to be up 16 hours later to start school. That might be a hellish morning for a parent, and I would rather have them not go through that. So that is kind of my helpful advice and opinion. Routine and structure is very important. Summer, I'm not saying parents should run summer like they're a drill sergeant or in boot camp, but sometimes it's kind of difficult to have to balance and figure out how much leeway or how much room we give on the leash. When do we have to pull in the reins, when we don't? But when it comes to a child's mental health, I think structure and routine is very important, and keeping things consistent, especially if that's been working out. And again, that pertains to both medication and kind of the house dynamic. This kind of idea of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, does really apply to a lot of things when it comes into mental health. If kind of the system that a family is set up in the home works, keep doing it and maintain it. Don't start deviating because, okay, we're now in the summer and, I want to kind of loosen the reins. Because sometimes, or many times, like, you start changing your routine and things kind of get disrupted, it might take longer to kind of get back into that routine once you kind of re-implement what you kind of loosened up. So those are my pearls of wisdom for today's show. Hoping that for parents out there, that, as they're counting down the days for school to begin within the next 2 to 3 weeks, that getting the kids back to school in their first week goes smoothly. Like I said, if you have to talk with your child's therapist or psychiatrist, now's the time to get them in to be seen. A lot of times also parents will kind of take the summer off from their mental health treatment. Get them back in now. Don't wait again till either the day before school or once school started. Get them in now. Kind of, again, that's another aspect of kind of getting them back into their structure and routine. And on that note, that will conclude today's show. This has been Dr. Gil Lichtshein, aka Dr. Mensch, wishing everybody a good week and a good rest of your summer. And enjoy the last couple weeks of summer break, although I know school teachers, I think, will be back next week. So school teachers out there, I think you have your final full week of summer vacation. and I hope everybody enjoys. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us for Dr. Mensch with Dr. Gil Lichtshein, helping you navigate the world of mental health with clarity and care. If you or someone you love needs support, you're not alone. Treatment works and recovery is possible. To schedule a consultation or discuss non-medication therapies, personalized treatment plans, or psychiatric care, contact Dr. Gil directly at 561-300-4052 or visit docgil.com. You can catch us each week on South Florida Oldies Radio and streaming across all social platforms. Until next time.